Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chesswise. Today we are at the next topic and we are going to learn how to evaluate a position, how to assess the situation, how to know whether the position is good and how much good it is. So that is the main aspect. Knowing it is a good position is great. I know that my position is better. But there are different shades of better to it. Like there is slightly better when the pieces are somewhat better than opponent's pieces. Then it's clearly better when we see that situation is really now getting much better now than before. More pieces are active, king is safer than the enemy king. And the third shade, that is winning. When several factors included combined, we see that we are better. And here I am not talking specifically about the material. What happens with beginners or weaker players is generally they always see the material first. Like I look at the position and I would tend to count, I am a pawn up or I am a piece for 2 pawns. So I try to just evaluate or judge the position based on that. But the masters, I feel, they always see other things. What do they see? They see the king safety first or they see the activity of the pieces. Both have much higher value than material in their eyes. So that we are going to assess here in this position. So if we look at this position quickly, we see that black has kept the center closed. Bishop on b3 seems to be suffering a bit. Black king is about to castle and he would like to use the center pawns soon. Against that, white has already developed well and he wants to do something in the position. He wants to trap the black king in the center as we decided or learned before. This section is slightly different. We are trying to assess the situation and try to understand whether the sacrifice or the combination should exist or not. That is the slight difference. So this is the position here. The pawn is on h4, not on h2. White is having 3 nice candidate moves. One is he wants to break the center. Of course, there is bd5. There is the very obvious h5 trying to ruin the pawn structure. And third, there is the move bh6. Trying to stop black's castle. Black has another option here. He can count on the move qc7 and maybe run away with long castle as well. White doesn't want to waste any time and wants to catch the black king in the center. But precise calculation is required and this is what Paul Keres does here. Paul Keres is white. One of the strongest players in the history of chess who couldn't become a world champion. He has defeated or has a plus score against most of the world champion in his time. So he calculates, goes with the move bd5, but do note that after bd5, ed, rook d5, which looks like the most obvious and tempting option, black gets qc8, gets the queen away from the pin, and after nd4, trying to destroy c6, who is the defender of e7, black has the intermezzo castle here. There is a small threat now. If knight c6, then bc6, rook gets attacked. So rook d7, qd7, knight c6, qc6, queen takes e7 is actually stopped. That is why castle is good move, because after queen takes e7, materially white was somewhat okay. He didn't have much problem, 1 pawn for exchange, better developed pieces, but after rook f8 it's game over. The even rook cannot be supported by the queen and the position becomes losing. So rook d5 fails over here. So many a times what happens, many attacking players or the budding players, they tend to sacrifice, but their sacrifices go wrong. And what they do, they stop playing aggressively. I would suggest that's not the right way. We should try to see where something went wrong and try to improvise and still continue to play aggressively. Let's go to the main game and see what Keres does. So white goes and bishop d5, he takes d5 and he finds the very strong intermezzo, knight e5. See the situation now, there is a difference. Now castle is not good because after castle, white can simply take knight c6, bishop c6, queen takes c7. Here there is no fear of the move rook e8. After the move qb8, which tries to exploit this pin against the bishop, the knight can't move. White, I think, has the very simple queen f3. There are multiple threats now. Knight e5 cannot be taken because b5 is double attack. And we see that there are threats of knight d7, bishop attacks the queen. There is threat of knight c6. there is also a threat of knight f7 using this relation between the queen, bishop and the king. After knight f7, kf7, this is a winning position for white. After the move f6 also there is no respite. Knight takes c6, bishop takes c6, and the strong double attack queen e6. Queen attacks the bishop and queen f6 is threatened. We see that this is a very interesting analysis. Various defenses are there, but nothing works. Let's look at the main move qd7 first. There are some other alternatives as well. Rook c8 loses outright instantly to bd6. After qd7 comes qf6 attacking the rook. Rook goes to f8 and white uses the tactics. Rook takes c7, queen takes c7 and queen c6 check. For the exchange already white has quite a lot, and the black king is not running away as well, because after the move kf7 we see that situation is far worse. qd5 check, king is unable to hide. There is the threat of bd6, and after queen e6 comes qb7 check. King g8 forced. If qe7 then rd7 wins. Now there is bishop h6, queen f7, keeping the queen attacked, and now comes rook d7. So the queen check is not possible. Queen moves allows rook g7 and white is winning. This analysis was one of the most important one. Black defended well in the game, and let's see what he could do. So the bold decision made by the move bishop d5 by Keres is mainly because of his evaluation that the position is close to winning. This is what his conclusion was. So this made him give up the bishop on d5. And of course it turned out to be correct. Let's see what happened in the game. Black takes, knight takes e5, queen takes e5. Now the rook on h8 is attacked, and there is nothing much that black can do other than the move castle. After f6, qd5 wins very easily. The threat is of bishop d6. After the move rook f8 also, it's very bad. Both qd5 and rook d5 are winning. Black does castle in the game and gives up the bishop rightly. Queen takes e7, rook takes e7. Black is counting on the fact that there are opposite colored bishops, but with rooks on the board, the characteristic of the position is not drawish, so white can keep the rooks on. So after bishop e6, bishop e5, rook f8, white will not trade the rook, so he can go rook c7, and after rook c8, keep the rook on b7. This way he has avoided any tricks here. Bishop guards b8, bishop can settle on the square d4, and eventually white can look to play either f3, g4, h5, or he can look to use this rook into the attack. So there is other plan based on rook d4 followed by a4, which would break the queen side, and white would win this game. So it was about assessing the position and getting to this position here. We are not going to continue the game. We saw how white got into a winning position. That was the purpose of this lesson. I hope you are finding these lessons useful and instructive. Do let me know in the comments below. Thanks for your time.